really good idea.
Oh, okay.
It's like, I know. We gotta get out of here before.
Oh, you'll be good too. You delete them.
Yes, and I like formal too.
Yeah. We'll figure it out, because I want to go just kind of.
All right.
Don't get me seats in the friggin' ceiling anymore.
So I want to welcome everyone to this is very abridged presentation of Regenesis. And I'm just going to ask, in a world of multiple dimensions and multiple distractions and perceptions and projections and preceptions, I'm just going to invite everyone, if you could, unless it's an emergency, if you could just kind of disconnect from your digital device just for a moment, because this presentation, which I've done all over the world, I'm offering today, is really more of an activation, and it's an activation and experience that we're all co-creating. Okay, so if we're all really present, we can make potentially something magical happen. And you know, if our thoughts are wandering in 100 other places, it doesn't allow us the privilege and the opportunity to fully be present. Does that work?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, thank you. So real quick, my name's Michael DiMartino, and happy to be here in my home, well, what once was my hometown. I'm now living in a remote location in southern Colorado. And I love California, but you know, over the last 4 or 5 years, it's become increasingly more challenging to spend the majority of my time here, and have kind of rediscovered the simplicity and beauty of nature. So really quick, I'm an interfaith minister and I'm an event producer. I'm a musician. I have a huge background of many different things. I used to work in corporate America, managing hotels and restaurants very much like the one we're in, and realized that chasing money wasn't necessarily the key to happiness, that I needed to begin to blaze this trail of my own regenesis, which is what we're going to talk about and interact with each other today, as opposed to just this for 25 minutes. But discovered really the importance of trying to find what truly brought me quality of life and my own regenesis or rebirthing experience. So if you have a question at any point, just kind of raise your hand, because I want to include people in the discussion. And as we go through, I'll open it up more and more for people's input. But really quick, I want to start with the concept of regenesis, and what does that bring to mind when people think of the meaning of that. And feel free if you have any ideas, any thoughts. Regenesis.
Transformation.
Transformation, right? Anyone else?
New beginning.
Rebirth, new beginnings, exactly. And when I say regenesis, it's a very provocative word. It tends to have religious implications, but I will assure you, as an interfaith minister and someone who's traveled the world, and I've studied everything from the very ancient pagan and elemental-based religious traditions, Shintoism, into Taoism, into Buddhism, Confucianism, Lao-Tzu, then moving through other religions, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, that they're basically, a lot of them are saying the same thing. And even more importantly, as we're in this age where things seem to be collapsing, that more and more people, like events like this, are discovering their own unique connection to source, or to self, whatever you want to call it. Maybe it's God, maybe it's the goddess, maybe it's the earth, Allah, whatever it is. All these religions have pearls of truth. So part of this regenesis process that I'm going to take you through over the next 18 minutes is to help inspire and instigate your own rebirthing process. So during the course of this workshop, we're going to do a few exercises. And just to start with, I just wanted to share this really quick. We live in a world where so many things are drastically changing day by day. We will have a discussion today looking at the various aspects of regenesis, or what we call regenerative culture. And more importantly than just talking about it, I want to come up with, at the end, a couple epiphanies or solutions that maybe you have or you carry that I'm not aware of, and I can also share some ideas. So in the regenesis process, a big part of it is looking at evolution as a timeline, okay? So started from this point, if we look back, right, we're looking at the past, okay? And we all have a past, whether in this lifetime, however many years old you might be, or maybe you have a belief or an understanding or an experience of being reincarnated. Maybe you've had lives before this. Whether you actually physically embodied another being, you know, everyone loves, I was the Isis and, you know, I was the Pharaoh of Egypt. No one ever says, you know, I used to clean stables for Genghis Khan, you know, things like that. So the idea is that we all, maybe some of us have had past lives, because science has even proven now that consciousness, energy never dies. It doesn't, it only changes form. So since we all hopefully here have souls, right? Even if we shut our body, that energy, that soul is still alive, okay? Are we kind of in a amen, agreement?
Yes.
Hallelujah? All right, awesome. So, and we're going to talk a little bit also about quantum physics. But let's look at the idea of regenesis. So to know where we are and where we're going in this process of rebirthing, right? We have to know where we came from. So how I like to explore that is what I call reconciliation. You might have heard the term, there's some people practicing it here in the building, ancestral karma, ancestral astrology. But basically all of us, through either our past lives or through our ancestors, have inherited some trash, some baggage, right? I have dove deep into my family ancestry. I'm Italian, and I went back through, you know, multiple generations, and you know, I don't need to pontificate about the beauty and joys of the Roman Empire, but nonetheless, you know, we all come from various cultures and traditions, families, relationships, villages that we might have at some point generated an injustice, and we carry that. Just like in our life right now, if we have relationships, right? They say, oh, you got baggage, right? You got some baggage. Well, all of us actually might even have karmic baggage that we carry with us through our life that we're not even aware of. And this is what we call ancestral karma or ancestral astrology. So in order to be here now, to rebirth, to move forward with a higher level of intuition and intention, right? We have to kind of clean up the past, because denial is not just a river in Egypt, right? Sure. Denial is our wish to sweep things under a rug, you know, maybe put our skeletons in the closet. Oof, someone else's skeletons in that closet. We're not going to go there. But to really deal with that. So I want to invite everyone into practice. If you'd like to do it, don't feel obligated. If you'd like to, you might receive. Even though I don't have a booth here, I'm not even here selling anything. I'm just here to actually talk and be of support. It's a practice. Has anyone ever heard of Ho'oponopono?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, a few people have. Awesome. So there's a lot of ways that this is done, but Ho'oponopono is a very ancient tradition, typically from Hawaii, but many cultures have it. I couldn't put a bed of hot coals for us to walk over here today, so we're going to do the simplified version. You've walked on hot coals perhaps before? No? Okay. You might find yourself someday doing that. So basically all we're going to do is, if everyone could just stand up for a minute. Okay.
I'm not walking on no hot coals.
Just move yourself a little bit, just get a little, you know, get some energy going. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share a few words, and I'm going to invite you to repeat the words. You're not obligated. And as you do that, I'm going to encourage you to just look around the room. Maybe you're here with a friend, right? You have some sort of connection. Maybe you look at someone you don't know, you've never met before. And we're going to reconcile any injustices or harms that we might have done to kind of help sweep up and clean up our past. Work good? Sound good? All right. So we're going to start by, I'm going to pick someone in the room. Are you two going to go with each other, or are you going to look at someone else? Okay, all right. I'm going to look at, is it okay? I'll look at this gentleman, and don't feel obligated. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to say, please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
There you go. And look at someone in the eyes. If you want, you can even look in a mirror. And the weird thing is, you know, there's 8 billion people on the planet. Who knows why we're all here in this room at this time of history, in time to actually have this experience together. So You know, I start to get goosebumps when I think about the implications of like we could be anywhere else on the planet, but we're all here in a room at the Gold Miners Inn. And even being in the Gold Miners Inn has its own process of reconciliation, because if anyone knows about the history of gold mining and what was occurred with the Chinese, what occurred with the native communities, Pono. We have some reconciliation to clean up our history so we can all move forward. So, I'll say it and we can all repeat. Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Okay, you guys, no, he went right to you. Please, stick with the intuition. Okay. For any harm or injustice.
For any harm or injustice.
That me and my ancestors.
That me and my ancestors.
Have done to you and your ancestors.
Have done to you and your ancestors.
All right, let's pick one more person. Let's do it one more time. Starting to feel a little lighter? Wait, I think the air conditioning kicked on too. So let's try it one more time. Look around the room for a minute. Okay, may I?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, great, thank you. And you can find someone else you know. Find someone you don't know. Try something different, girls. Okay, thank you.
It's very powerful,
Okay.
especially.
Aha.
Okay.
So here we go. I'll start and we can all repeat. Please,
Okay, I say same time.
and authenticity and sincerity is everything. Words are just words, but as we learn with words and writing, they call it spelling. When we say it with intention, these are spells. These is magic. This is creating a quantum field of consciousness and reality. So I encourage you to use sincerity, if you like, when you say it. So I'll say it and then everybody can repeat, please.
I say it with you at the same time, right?
No, say it to me back.
Okay.
Please forgive me
Please
forgive me.
for any harm or injury
For any harm or injury.
that me or my ancestors
That me or my ancestors.
have done towards you and your ancestors.
Have done towards you and your ancestors.
All right, Austin, give yourself a nice round of
Wait, we
applause.
need a big shovel.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so this is a very simple practice, and I would encourage you, you know, if you have relationships that turn to relationships, this is a great way, you know, again, to heal so we all can move forward into our truest spiritual potential. So the next thing I want to do is, okay, so we're clearing up the past. Now, in our own past, we're all born to our parents. Maybe we chose them, maybe they chose us. We all have these soul contracts. Now, when we incarnate, we come into the world with a certain preception, right? Depending on if you believe in reincarnation or whatever your experience is. Maybe in the womb, your parent, like your father was a musician, you came in with a certain relationship to sound. So we're born with these preceptions, and as we begin to develop as adolescents, we create, by influence, our perception of the whole entire universe. By what we're taught in school, what we see, what we're experiencing. So, for instance, if I'm raised in a certain family where people in purple shirts are terrifying, I might have the perception, oh my God, there's someone in a purple. Don't take it personally, I'm just randomly saying that. You know, so you can start to see as we engineer our consciousness and the world affects us, we have these perceptions of reality. Maybe they're accurate, maybe they're distorted. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to shed a little bit of light on this evolutionary process of regenesis and our rebirthing. Any questions? Yeah. Okay, great. So in our perceptions, our perceptions, as we get older and we learn to communicate, these perceptions become projections, right? Like, oh my God, look at the person in the purple polka dot shirt, and you're like, oh yeah, they're so weird. What we start to do is we start to take our own individual perception of reality and we start projecting it. And you all might have heard of human design. Some people are projectors, some are manifestor generators. But let's admit it, we all are part of a huge quantum field. We all affect each other. What happens right now in Ukraine might affect us. What's happening with the climate in another part of the planet, the deforestation of Brazil, it's affecting climate. So we're all interconnected, we're all interdependent, and everything we do, we say, we spell, we feel, we invoke, we create, has an effect on the collective, okay? So part of that is our projection. So in this process of regenesis is starting to understand the power that we all truly have to not only impact those close to us, but to impact the world. For instance, my friend Richard Parisi created the God cards for not just men, but for men and women, talking about divine masculine. It's amazing to watch how people come up. People come up, well, what's divine masculine? Because there's a lot of talk about divine feminine, and rightfully so, because the feminine, the intuitive, the nature, the matriarchal energies that are so prevalent in indigenous cultures has been so oppressed for so long. It is time for women to rise up and claim their power. But if we do that in the wrong way, that becomes toxic feminine. So we have the divine masculine to help counterbalance toxic masculine, which is the patriarchal, which is the horrors of what happened through colonialism. I work with a lot of indigenous people. I'm sorry, I'm not here to say one's better. What happened, the hundreds of thousands of people here during the gold rush, it's really sad. So I want to acknowledge the Nisenan and the Maidu, who this is their ancestral lands that we're on. I come from a colonial background, so I'm constantly trying to do reconciliation and try to move forward with positive relations.
I'm hearing that people are saying, look in the landfills, and they seem to be indigenous peoples. Have you heard anything of that going on?
That's a whole rabbit hole we can go down to.
Okay.
I work with a woman in Sacramento, and there is a lot of stuff happening with missing and murdered indigenous women.
Okay.
It's not pretty to think about, but it's happening because it's our attack on nature, even the idea of extractive consciousness. We are absolutely destroying nature, affecting the planet, affecting each other, affecting our health by having this extractive, what I would call a more colonial-centric mindset. And I'm from Europe. I'm not against Europe. I'm just saying these ancient models where in more indigenous cultures, people worked as a circle. They worked together. They worked in collaboration with nature and natural intelligence. Also, that's a really, we could go way down a rabbit hole with that. But there is a lot happening, even our attitude towards nature. Look at right now, and I'm not a doom and gloomer. Actually, I spoke at New Living Expo in Marin, and afterwards people are like, wow, you're an apocalyptimist. I learned a new word. It's the apocalypse, but I'm pretty optimistic. If we all join together, we can make a difference, right? We have the power, right? We can change things tomorrow. We can change ourselves. Why do people come to expos like this? They want healing. They want to change. They want to look at alternatives. They want to look at solutions. They want to see the world as others might see them, right? So, unfortunately right now, most of the surface water on the planet has plastic and what we call forever chemicals because the new generations of fire retardants and da-da-da-da. Anyways, I'm not going to go down my ecological environmentalist rant. I'm just saying the fact that it's kind of a red alert moment on the planet, and it's forcing us all to become that lump of coal pressed into the diamond that you can be. So I want to do this presentation today to activate you and inspire you to be the diamond, to embody the highest potentiality that you can be. So we're going to get back on the timeline. How we do that is in the past, right? The ancient future. We want to do our Ho'oponopono. We want to reconcile. We want to heal. Tell people that you love. Heal. Tell them that you love them, right? It's all water under the bridge. And that brings us into what we call the quantum moment. The quantum moment is when we're fully here. Look at Buddha, look at many spiritual teachers. The whole idea was, be here now. And if you be here now, then it's like, wow, be here, wow. It's a whole different way to experience the world. And how we do that is we bring our spirit, our mind, and our body, and our consciousness together. It's like the pyramid, right? Balance. We bring it all together right now to become fully present and fully aware. And as much as technology can be a great thing, this is the most amazing distraction from us sometimes being present. I walked through an airport a couple weeks ago in Denver. Literally 5,000 people. I could have been naked and on fire, and no one would have noticed. And what happened to the simplicity of human connection, right? Of just that inexpressible connection that we all have. And I'm not saying I'm against phones, but as we're finding out with a whole new generation of youth, social media does not always give you the human connection. And there's a lot of people who are dealing with alienation, especially post that which shall not be named. And I'm not talking about Voldemort. I'm talking about the last 4 years of, all of us being locked down. Part of the beauty is it gave us all the opportunity to slow down, to reset, to reevaluate our lives, which is all part of why I'm coming out now. I let everything else go and I'm doing this thing called Regenesis about this is the moment, folks, to rebirth, to midwife our newest self and a new way of being. We have to reconcile, we have to become present, but then what we have to do, because we're projection, right? Perception, right? Projection. We have to start projecting not what the corporate media of bad news is filling our heads and our emotional bodies with. I mean, I turn the news on. Luckily, I'm strong being. I can watch it. I can be like, oh, wow, this is a litmus test. It's that time on the planet. Oh, God. It's kind of like fuel for my evolution. Like, whoa, that's not my narrative. That's not my story. I want to go to something more beautiful. So by projecting, by using intention, by us all tapping into our intuition, do you guys believe we can create something better than we have right now?
Absolutely.
Overnight, thank you. Especially, I just talked with this brother, especially with a lot of the new technology that's coming out. I'm not saying technology will necessarily save the world because technology is connected to our consciousness. We have to have the political will, we have to have the spiritual will to make change and not just sit there and accept the status quo and live quietly and silently in the Matrix. Have you guys seen the Matrix?
Oh.
An exaggeration, but whoa, immersive reality in 3D is real. So I got about 10 more minutes. Any questions? Either I'm really good or everyone's confused and I don't even know what I'm talking about.
I'm looking forward to keep continuing on.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
I'm
you.
resonating with what you're saying.
Thank you. This
I'm
is
with
all
that.
really in the
That's
moment.
where I
This
am.
is not scripted. Okay, so
Absolutely.
let's project. Okay, we live in a society where everything is separated. We all have our homes, we have our fences, we have our life, we have our job, we have our matrix. We're all in our little incubator pod doing our little incubation thing, but somehow we've lost the beauty of human connection. And I say that discerningly because as much compassion as I have, sometimes there's humans I don't want to connect with, right? But the idea is that we have to find a way, a design, and this is where the whole topic of Regenesis comes in. New humanity, new earth, new paradigm, new design. He didn't put it on there, all with question marks. Because I'm here to inquire. These are buzzwords right now. Someone tell me what is new. Right now, sitting here in this room, share with me what's new, some new ideas, some new technologies, some new things. It's open for everyone.
The rise of divine masculine.
There we go. He created the God card. It's an amazing tool. I have to say, most of my friends are women. I tend to be more towards the feminine, which intuitive, more sensitive. Maybe it was the way I was raised by my mother. I don't want to sit around and talk about cars and watch kickboxing all day and guys beat the shit out of each other in a ring. I'm sorry, I just don't want to do it. But I also used to be an athlete and I appreciate competition. But now in our new regenesis of this new paradigm of new humanity, new earth, new design, new paradigm, you know what? Darwinianism is being defeated because it's not survival of the strongest and the most competitive. It's the survival of what?
Those who adapt to change best.
Absolute innovation and collaboration. So this is the underpinning, this is the foundation of how we can use the projection, our intuition, balance our masculine and feminine, and actually come into a whole new paradigm, a new way of being. And I would encourage you, start with the self, because like Gandhi and others said, Dalai Lama, if we do it with ourselves, you know what? It's infectious. And I'm not talking about a virus. It's infectious. People feel it, they experience it, and they're going to want a piece of that, and it's going to inspire people, because the toughest thing to do is change the human mind. The easiest thing to do is inspire someone's heart. And when someone's inspired, you can accelerate and create rapid social change. And that's why the arts are so important.
As we learn, you were reminding me of it, talking about sports, and you're not interested in this and that, but you appreciate it and all the rest of it. Quite frankly, what I've experienced is that the more that you learn, it's so damn interesting, nobody can match it about what's going on in the reality and all the rest of the stuff. You catch yourself not, most stuff is unlistenable or unwatchable after a certain level of
awakening.
awareness and awakening.
Absolutely, and Nikola Tesla said it best. If you want to understand the universe, just understand frequency and vibration, right? Physics, density, going into the light spectrum, things we can see, things we can't see, infrared, ultraviolet, gamma, X-ray. There's whole universes and multiverses of things we can't see, but you know what? We can feel them. We can feel it in our parasympathetic nervous system. We can feel it. A guy before me, a friend of mine, just spoke about spirits, and he works with spirits and these types of things and ghosts, and people are like, I can feel it, but I can't see it. So we're just beginning to break out of the social programming to actually understand the true nature of reality and not just what we're being spoon-fed by the Matrix, right? So thank you, that was really good. And you know what, if you feel it, you feel it, and if you feel it, you know it, and that's the foundation. So part of the feminine is working from the more intuitive aspect of our consciousness, but we also have to temper it with the brain. And again, this is not gender specific, and I'm not trying to compare male and female attributes, because what's amazing, if you check out people like Bruce Lipton and HeartMath, they just came out with research that the biomagnetic energy of the heart, right, which actually has its own brain and intelligence, that's connected to our guts, our intestines, our digestive system where we process our nutrition, this is the core of our consciousness. The brain is simply the third filter as part of it, and that the heart generates 100,000 times more of a biomagnetic energy and resonance than the brain. So I'm not saying throw the brain out, you can use it as a filter, but again, I've been around very heart-centered people and you can feel them. It's like, it just feels good, right? It's like holding a kitten or something like that, even though I'm allergic.
There's some, you probably can throw the brain out too.
Absolutely.
I've heard that the brain can be a terrorist, quite frankly, to your own body.
Well, I mean, look at right now. I don't want to sound like I don't like to do anything that's can be politicized. But look at the media. Watch 5 minutes of media. See how you feel. Go out and walk in nature, right? And again, there's people here that have these healing modalities and work with energy and understand things on these levels. So I only have another minute or two left. So what I want to offer is a couple of foods of thought. So we talked about ancestral astrology, preception before we're born, perceptions of how we experience reality, including the traumas we carry. What's the first thing they do now when a baby's born? I birthed my 2 daughters at home. They were midwifed, born in water. We didn't even cut the umbilical cord. We did what's called lotus birthing. It's the way people used to birth children. What do they do now? You sometimes with forceps, you remove the child, you cut the umbilical, which is the child's connection to the mother for 9 months. Actually, until that's cut, they still get oxygen from the uterus of the mother. They can actually stay in the pool of water for a long time. They take it out in a bright room, they remove it from the mother, right? So right there, a lot of us have been born with this initial birth trauma. So a lot of this regenesis, a lot of this rebirthing work, a lot of this work of the past getting into the present and understanding the future is we have to pono, we have to reconcile, but we have to deal with our own trauma, okay? So I got 1 more minute left. Is there any last question before I finish? Okay, a couple words of wisdom of things for you to think about, okay? You might know what these mean, you might not know what these mean, and that's fine. Okay, so the whole thing about solutions, and this is the last part of the workshop, is full spectrum regenerative design. How we bring all the pieces together. Check out, we used to call it sustainability. Full spectrum regenerative design is we have to rebirth everything. Arts, culture, spirituality, media, health and wellness, renewable energy. We need a complete revamp. Everything that doesn't work, let's compost it. Anything that works, let's keep it. And if we don't know how to fix it, we have to innovate. We have to create something new. So with that, I'm just going to finish 30 seconds with a song, because this blah, 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 blah for 25 minutes is not it. So I would like to finish with a song. If everyone could stand up. If you want to come up and set up, I'll be out in just 1 second. Okay.
There's nothing to set up.
Okay, thank you. All right. So this is a song of hope. And I'd like to, if we could just create a circle in the room, please, and kind of go side by side with your neighbors. Because the way we're going to make this Regenesis, we have to do this together. And you know what? Everyone's voice is important, right?
Yes.
Is everyone's voice important? Men, women, children, our elders. Okay, so the words are very simple, and it goes, one planet is turning.
One planet is turning.
Circle on her path around the sun.
Circle on her path around the sun.
Earth Mother is calling her children home.
Earth Mother is calling her children home.
Let's keep it burning.
Keep it burning.
Let's keep the flame of hope alive.
Hope alive.
Make safe our journey
Make safe our journey
through the storm.
through the
I know it's a
storm.
lot of words. I'll say it, repeat it one time. We'll try to nail it one more time, and we'll get out of here for our next presenter. I just want to thank everyone for showing up. Really. To be here at this time on the planet, to be here at this event, and to even be open-minded and open-hearted for solutions and change and transformation. And the only way it's going to work is we all have to find our superpower. I mean, look at superhero movies, Marvel, DC. Activate your superpower. Don't wait. Do it now. Find your passion. Find your greatest strength. Activate it. We all in agreement?
Oh.
Here we go. One planet is turning. Everyone.
One planet is turning.
Circle on her path around the sun.
Circle on her path around the sun.
Earth Mother is calling. Wait, her children home. Everyone.
Earth Mother is calling her children home.
Last line. Let's keep it burning.
Let's keep it burning.
Let's keep that flame of hope alive.
Let's keep that flame of hope alive.
Make safe our journey through the storm.
Make safe our journey through the storm.
Thank you so much. If you're interested in more about our work, just go to Earthstock Foundation. We have a whole nonprofit. This is what we do. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.